If you're someone who's aspiring to retire early in their 30s or early 40s, please try to adopt the strategies that I'm telling you. Don't depend on your primary work. Try to create some other income streams. Very, 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 very important. Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. Today we are going to discuss something very interesting. How you can retire in your 30s. Now, before you start commenting that, hey, you know what, Akshat, that's not possible in India, people can't do it, it's just too much of work, let me make a few quick points. Number one, let me clarify the definition of retirement. So my definition of retirement is that you have reached a point in your life where you can literally handpick the work that you want to do. Right? You're not working anymore for money because A, you have built a large enough investment portfolio that can finance your expenses that you're undertaking and help you maintain a certain quality of life. Right? So let me break down that statement for you. So it essentially means that, for example, if you have saved, let's say hypothetically speaking, 1 crore. Right? Hypothetically speaking, 1 crore, you have saved it, you have invested it. Now you're making enough returns from that portfolio so as to finance your current set of expenses that you incur every month. So you have reached that stage in your life. So that is what retirement according to me means, that you essentially do not have to work for money anymore, right? You can just follow your passion. You don't need to actively go to office and work, right? Now, why am I the right person to speak about this? Because by the time I was 30, I was already a millionaire and I have achieved that financial freedom. So I'm going to talk about that, how you can achieve financial freedom by the time you are 30. Of course, it's not a very easy step. You have to put in a lot of hard work, effort, etc., but it is doable. I have done it and I'm sure that even you can do it. So I'm going to take you through a 6-step process. Just very few quick disclaimers. Number one, this is going to be a slightly quants heavy video. So I'm going to share some numbers. I'll show you the computations on my screen. So please follow along. That's one. Number two, please watch the video till the end, because if you don't watch the video till the end, you will only understand half the stuff and then you will make mistakes. You will adopt half the strategy. So please watch the video till the end. Number three, since you're still listening, please like this video. That would mean a lot to me. It would indicate to me that I would continue to make these type of informative videos, practical videos, so that you benefit in your own journey to financial independence. So now let me start speaking about the 6 specific process and let me take you to my whiteboard. So the first key step to your financial independence and retiring in 30s is that you must estimate your monthly expenditure. Okay. So you must estimate your monthly expenses or expenditure. Okay. So expenses or expenditure, for example, let's say that right now you're spending 25,000 INR, right? So this is your monthly expense. Now, rather than having a very set figure, for example, 25,000, try to approximate a range of expenses currently, right? That's an important word. So for example, it could be that your range is somewhere around, let's say 15,000 to 25,000, right? Let's approximate that. This is your current expense. And what are you having? When you incur these expenses, what do you get? You get a certain quality of life. Right? Now, this is a very simple estimate that you need to keep in mind that, hey, this is my quality of life, that I live in a certain type of a house, I drive a certain car, that I incur certain types of entertainment expenses. So that is your quality of life. And how much money are you spending? What are your expenses? You need to have an understanding of both of these. I'm not saying that you need to have the exact expense or exact quality of life estimate, but you need to have a general estimate of these things as the first step. Now, once you have a handle of your expenses and the quality of life that you live, you need to estimate what type of a retirement portfolio, right? Portfolio you need to build, right? For example, you might say that, hey Akshat, I'm looking to build a portfolio of 5 CR, right? 5 crore or 1 crore or 50 lakhs or 500 crores. So whatever that number is, you get that number by working from your expenses, right? And judging the quality of life. Right? So let me explain this point via using some math now. Okay. Now, essentially, if you're spending 25,000 on the higher side, right? So take up your higher side expense, monthly expense. So in a year, how much are you spending? 25,000 times 12, right? So that gives you how much? 25 times 12 is 25,000 times 12. That gives you an yearly expense of 3 lakh rupees. This is your yearly expense, right? Now this gives you an yearly expense of how much? 3 lakh rupees. Very simple. Right? Now what you need to do is that you need to multiply this number by 33, right? So this gives you approximately 1 crore, right? And this is the size of the portfolio or size of your nest egg. That you need to have a 1 crore portfolio if you want to keep spending 25,000 a month. Right? Very, very important point. I'll repeat it again. Now you need to have 1 crore portfolio. Now what do I mean by portfolio? This is the money that you should have invested in stocks, bonds, FDs, cryptos, whatnot, right? So you need to have this money invested. This is your nest egg, right? Investment amount, right? So this is the amount of money that you need to have invested for you to keep withdrawing 25,000 rupees a month on every year basis. For how many years can you do that? So you can approximately do this for 40 to 50 years, right? Why am I giving you a range? Because the numbers are not fixed, right? It works on an approximation. Now you would say that, hey Akshat, this sounds like some kind of magic. Can you help us understand how did you arrive at these numbers? So there was a study that was done by Trinity College, right? So it is a study based on retirement principles. Essentially what it says is that, hey, if you have, let's say 1 crore saved, and if every year we are withdrawing 4% portfolio, so Trinity called this as 4% study rule. So every year if you are withdrawing 4% portfolio, so how many you are withdrawing? 4 lakh, right? And every year if you are withdrawing 4 lakh from your portfolio, from your nest egg, then you can continue to spend this money for the next 30 years, right? Without working a day in your life. I'll repeat this again. If you have a 1 crore portfolio, what is the drawdown number? This 4% is the withdrawal or drawdown number from that portfolio, that every year you're withdrawing money from this portfolio, and this portfolio of 1 CR will last you for how many years? 30 years, right? So this retirement study by Trinity College was done in context of analyzing retirements, right? So people usually retire at the age of 60 and they assumed a life expectancy of how many? 90 years. So this drawdown rate of 4% was assumed, and therefore this nest egg will last you for 30 years. This is the simple calculation. Now I have adjusted this study, the numbers that I gave you, to a drawdown rate of 3%. So you're withdrawing lesser money. So what does this do? That instead of 30 years, you can draw this money out for 40 to 50 years. Why? Because instead of 4%, you're only withdrawing 3% of your portfolio. Right? Now you might say that, hey Akshat, 1 crore and I'm withdrawing like 4%, so I'm withdrawing like 4 lakhs every year. And by year 2, I would have withdrawn 8 lakhs. By year 3, I would have withdrawn 12 lakhs, so on and so forth. So how does this stay, right? So how does my 1 crore last for 30 years? The reason is that because there will be growth on this portfolio every year. So every year, this 1 CR will grow. For example, if you invest 60% in equities and 40% in debt, this is what Trinity study did, and they analyzed the stocks, bond market of different countries, came up with their own rational estimation and analysis, and eventually they concluded. So I'm giving you the conclusion of the report. The conclusion simply says that, hey, you can have a drawdown rate of 4% and your money will last you for 30 years at a drawdown rate of 4%, right? There is a 90% chance of this working out. Of course, if you put all your money and go and invest in Bitcoin, and if Bitcoin crashes, then of course this study is not applicable to you. So just to conclude the first point. So first, you need to estimate your expenses and your quality of life. Determine what that amount is. Is it 25,000? Is it 50,000? Is it 75,000? Multiply that by 33 to reach and estimate the size of your nest egg, right? This is the nest egg. So I hope this first point is clear. Let's move on to the second point. Now I will start breaking down this Trinity study further to help you understand and contextualize this study according to your own retirement plans. Which brings me to point number 2, that you need to track your spending. Okay, this is very, very important, that you need to track your spending. I can't stress on this point enough. For example, if you're earning, let's say 10 million, but if you're spending 9.9 million, then you're left with literally minuscule amount, right? So it's not about how much money you are earning, it's more about how much you are saving. So let me contextualize this example to our own life. For example, if you make a decision to spend, let's say 25,000 per month of additional expense, then how much of a nest egg do you need to create? You need to create it by 1 CR. Now let me contextualize this example further. So many of us tend to buy Netflix at 750 rupees a month. And let's say that we are using this for lifetime. Then every year, how much expense are we incurring? 750 multiplied by 12. So let's, for the ease of computation, let's assume 800 rupees. So we are spending how much? We are spending 9,600. So roughly we are spending 10,000 per year on Netflix. How much money do you have to add to your nest egg if you just want to keep using Netflix? It is 10,000 multiplied by 33, which is 3.3 lakhs. You have to increase your nest egg by 3.3 lakhs if you just want to keep using Netflix. Now, if you are paying an EMI loan of, let's say, 25,000 every year, right, for the next 20, 30 years, whatever, then you again have to increase your nest egg by a certain amount. The point that I want to drive home is very, very simple, that when you incur certain types of recurring expenses, it can add a lot to your nest egg. Please keep that in mind. This is a very important component and concept that I want to explain, that track your expenses. This is extremely important, and try to cut down on unnecessary expenses because it can add a lot to your retirement fund. Now, the third point is that you should track your age, right? For example, now if you say that, hey Akshat, I want to retire when I'm 30. That's a very difficult goal. Why? Because 30 years, now assume life expectancy of 80 years. Then you are planning for retirement for how many years? You are planning for retirement for 50 years. Then your drawdown rate on the conservative side should be somewhere between 2.5 to 3%, right? So of course, your nest egg size will also go up. That's a fun way, but again, this 3% rule will still be applicable for a 40 to 50 year window, right? So you can do that analysis. Now, if you're at 40, now you have fewer years to go for retirement. And if your life expectancy is 80 years, then you just have 40 years. So I'm just saying but this 40-year period is also very long, so plan accordingly. So here again, what you need to do, here you have to just plan for 40 years of retirement. So track your age, decide by when do you want to retire, right? Again, please go back to point 1, my definition of retirement. That is the definition of retirement that I was speaking about. You need to decide when you want to retire. Now you might say that, hey Akshat, when do you want to retire? So I would say that I want to retire somewhere around 35-ish. Now again, my definition of retiring ties into the initial points that I was speaking, that retirement for me means that I get to do whatever I want to do. Almost 90% of the work that I do now, I literally handpick it, right? But going forward, I would somewhat completely retire in another 2-3 years. I have already built the nest egg. I already have an estimate of how much expense I would undertake. I will not disclose those numbers, but I simply want you to get some value out of this exercise, that you need to do this exercise yourself. That track your age, decide when you want to retire, start building a portfolio, start investing in it, start building an estimate of the quality of life that you want to build and how much money you need to expense every month. So these are some key numbers that you need to keep in mind. Now comes the fourth and a very interesting point and a very interesting question, that hey, what percentage of my salary should I save? Should I save 70% of my salary? Should I save 90% of my salary? Should I only save 20% of my salary? And hey Akshat, how much salary do you save? Right? So I save approximately 95% plus of my salary. The reason is that my wife is working. We live very frugally. It's not as if that we don't have an AC or we don't have a fridge. Nothing of that sort. We have all the amenities. We do travel abroad, etc., etc. But number one, in my case, I have already built a very big portfolio. I have multiple sources of income. I'll speak about that in point 5. But what I want you to notice, that your percentage of salary saved needs to be high. If you want to retire early, it absolutely needs to be high, right? Now you would say that, hey Akshat, can you tell me what that high means, right? I mean, is it like 20%, 30%, 50%, 70%, what? So according to a study that was done by Mr. Money Mustache, right? So he runs a finance blog and his study is credible. It has been supported by a lot of people from the finance community. He says that if you are able to save approximately 70 to 80% of your entire salary for a period of 10 years, then you can safely retire, assuming that your quality of life is consistent. Right? So let's break this statement down. So let's say that, hey, if you're earning, let's say 1 lakh, right? And you're saving 70,000. And right now you are having a certain quality of life, that you are living in a certain type of a house, you drive certain car, etc., etc. So there is a certain quality of life associated with you spending just how much? Not 70, 30,000, right? So you are spending how much? In 30,000, because you have saved 70% of your salary, right? So 30,000 is your expense that you are incurring to maintain a certain quality of life, right? Now, if you keep doing this for 10 years, then you can safely retire, right? You can safely retire and again build a bank and last on that bank for 40 to 50 years. Now, this is a simple rule. Many a times people say that, hey Akshat, I'm saving 50% of my salary. Is it good enough? It really depends on your goal. If your goal is to retire, then you must save 70 to 80% of your salary that you're getting for how many years? For 10 years, assuming that you do not change the quality of your life. Right? If you do that, you can safely retire. So keep a track of how much salary you are saving. This is again a very, very important point. Now this brings us to point number 5, which is the most important point on this video, that hey Akshat, can you give me like a crash course on retiring early, right? This is very, very important. Can you please talk about it, that hey, what are some of the basics? You have talked about so many numbers, you have pointed to Trinity study, whatnot. Just explain to me in simple terms, what do I need to do? Okay, so here are the quick inputs. Number 1, you need to earn a lot. Now what is a lot? It really depends on how much your expenses are, what quality of life you want to build, right? So I can't comment on these 2 points. You need to decide for yourself. For example, if you decide that hey, you know what, I'm very happy spending 25k, I can live a good quality of life in 25k, then the nest egg that you will have to build, that will be small. If you say that, hey Akshat, I want to spend like 1.5 lakhs, right, every month, then of course the size of this nest egg will be very big. How much will it be? You can do it yourself through the computations that I have told you. What would that be? 1.5 lakhs a month, right? So in a year, how much? 12. So that gives 18 lakhs. If you multiply it by 33, that gives you the size of the nest egg that you need to have saved at the point that you need to retire, right? Assuming that you're in your 30s. Right? This is an important point. So 18 lakhs multiplied by 33, that approximately comes out to be 6 crore, right? So here you need a total nest egg of 6 crore if you are in your 30s to retire, where you don't have to work any single day for money anymore, right? You can just keep earning money on the side. But yeah, this is the size of the nest egg. Is it big? Absolutely. Now you would say that, hey Akshat, not realistic for me. What is it that I should do? So the most obvious thing is that, hey, cut down on your expenses. This is the reason why I say that, hey, don't get into credit card game. You need to develop a frugal psychology. That is very, very important. Please watch my video on why I don't use a credit card despite being a millionaire. Because I want you to be financially independent, financially free, and quit the rat race of entering into unnecessary consumerism, right? Invest in yourself, pick up your skills, build your skill set, earn more, save more, do all the good things, but don't spend money mindlessly. That is my simple advice to you. Number 2 point that you need to remember in terms of crash course for retiring early, you need to save a lot of your income in the range of 70 to 80% of money, whatever you are making, to maintain the quality of life that you're currently living, right? If you say that, Akshat, I am able to save somewhere around 70 to 90%, right? That is a wonderful figure because it gives you the scope that you can improve the quality of life without hitting your retirement goals. What do I mean? So it means that let's say that you're saving currently 90%, right? So over time, you can bring down your savings rate to 70% and increase your quality of life with that additional 20% of the cushion room, right? So you can use that to enhance the quality of life. So I hope this point is clear. Now, third point, you might say that, hey Akshat, you know what? You have talked about building a portfolio of 1 crore, building a portfolio of 6 crore. In a traditional job, I can't do it, right? Because by the time I'm 30, how much savings would I have? I might have 15 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs. If I'm extremely good, maybe 30, 35, 40 lakhs. Not beyond that, right? So this is not realistic for me. So please note down a couple of points. So one is that I'm talking about in your 30s, right? So it's not exactly that you have to retire by 30. There is not a race here, right? If you are happy retiring at 39, it gives you more time, right? So of course, I truly believe that you can actually build this nest egg very, very easily, right? By the time you're 39, if you put in the hard work, if you are frugal in terms of your spending, if you're rational in terms of understanding what skills to develop versus not. But I get your point. I definitely agree that, hey, from a traditional job, it is not easy to build this nest egg. So what is it that you should do? So of course, you need to understand how to make more money. I'm not saying that, go rob a bank, nothing like that. All I'm simply saying is that you must explore parallel sources of income. If you can work over the weekends, do it. Work hard. You have more energy when you're on the younger side. College students ask me that, hey Akshat, I'm working for already 10 hours from Monday to Friday and you are asking me to work more on the weekends. At 25, if you start seeking work-life balance, it is cool, it's a good debate, but at 25, do you really need to seek work-life balance? You must be working hard, right? That's my philosophy. People might disagree with it, but if you agree, do give it a thumbs up. That would mean a lot. But simple advice is that when you are younger, you have more energy. So use that energy productively because it gives you compounding effect. The money that you saved when you were 25, if you have invested it for 10 years, it will grow by a lot, right? So keep that in mind. There is compounding effect. So therefore, it is beneficial to work harder when you are younger. Now, this brings me to the next point, that you can only work hard on things that you are somewhat interested in. Please note the word that I have used the word interested, not passionate. Okay. For example, if you are someone who is interested in technology and you feel that, hey, you know what, I can actually start building some websites for some startups that can become a good side income for me, go and do it. Build your portfolio on forums like Upwork. Learn to write really well, right? Get clients via LinkedIn, so on and so forth, right? There are a bunch of things that will allow you to explore your interest in technology and turn that into a money-making skill. If you say that, hey Akshat, I'm not a tech person, tell me what can I do? Learn to write really well, learn to speak really well. These two skills can help you make insane amount of money, right? Learn to explore money-making options, because in order to retire early, you need to make a lot of money. You can't just simply depend on traditional jobs where you're just going from office 9 to 5, coming back home, chilling, watching Netflix and hoping to retire by the time you're 40. Unfortunately, that strategy will not work, right? People continue to work in their 60s just to support their families. I respect that. I humbly do respect all that. But this is not a road to financial freedom, right? So if you're someone who is aspiring to retire early in their 30s or early 40s, please try to adopt the strategies that I'm telling you. Don't depend on your primary work. Try to create some other income streams. Very, 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 very important. Now, one cool thing or one passive income is just investments. For example, if you are able to grow your money at 15% by investing in stock markets, kudos. You can actually make returns from it. If you know intraday trading or swing trading, you can make money on everyday basis. Whenever you have a day off from work, you can just sit in front of computer and make some money. I do the same. Whenever I have free days, I just literally sit in front of my computer, run a few intraday trades just for fun and make some money. That is how you should be productively spending your time. This ties into the final point, that in order to make this side income and make this side income thrive, you need skills, right? So please continue to watch my YouTube channel and please like this video. That would mean a lot to me. So please continue to watch my channels, build your skill, build your negotiations, networking, whatnot skills. It will help you a lot in terms of living a more holistic, financially independent life. Now, final point on this video is something that we'll do for fun. So let's run some numbers, right? So fun numbers that you should know. So for example, so if you're looking to retire at the age of 30 and you want to spend 50,000 rupees per month, assuming that you have the same lifestyle, what is the nest egg that you need to build? That is 50,000 times 12, that is 6 lakhs times 33, that is 2 crore, right? So that is the nest egg that you would want to build. Now, if you want to retire at 30 with an expense of 100,000 rupees per month, that is 1 lakh rupees a month, then you are spending 12 lakhs and you have to multiply 12 by 33. That gives you a portfolio size of roughly 4 crores. Now, if you want to retire at 30 and if you want to spend 1.5 lakhs per month, then you have to multiply 1.5 lakhs by 33. That will roughly give you 6 crore. Now, if you want to retire at 30 at 2 lakhs per month expense, maintaining that quality of life, then you have to multiply 2 by 33. That is 66 lakhs a year. That brings you to a portfolio of how much? 8 crores, right? So you need 8 crores, 6 crores, 4 crores, 2 crores by the time you hit 30, whatever that retirement age that you have picked for yourself. So I hope this video gives you clarity and helps you understand a basic model as to how much you should be saving, things that you should be spending your money on, how much money do you actually need to retire. The goal of this video was not to promote early retirement or just make you push to a point where you stop working. No, I think one of the wonderful things about life is that you get to work and you get to follow things that you are passionate about, right? So that is what my goal through this video was, that to push you in a direction and push you towards a step where you feel financially secure so that you can actually start living your life, right? I hope you enjoyed the video. I will see you the next time.